capacity, like tacos.
Like a real, like a fancy, like Philly cheesesteak. You put like
you
some
could do
good
that,
cheddar on it, like a nice roll or some good
Yeah.
bread or something.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah,
teach
agreed.
those assholes over in Philly how to actually make good food instead of Philly cheesesteaks, which suck ass.
That's
Yeah,
what we're making tomorrow night.
Make it feel.
You just.
In the beginning, there was baseball. It is Monday, August 10th. That's right, a special Monday edition of 27 Down. I am here, of course, with my guy, Evan. First of all, you can follow me on Twitter at CJ and Pinstripes. You can follow him on Twitter at Evan D. Wetzel4. Evan, I know you're excited today.
I'm so fired up. This is 27 Down, the perfect podcast for the perfect game. Let's get right into it. The Astros suck. The Mets suck. The Red Sox suck. And the Yankees are doing okay, but that's fine because everyone else sucks.
Yeah. See, this is the kind of stuff I look for from you, Evan. Not your days where you're like, I don't really give a shit. Let's just do whatever. This is what I want.
I can't wait to make fun of the Mets and talk about the trade deadline and everything else that's coming up. This is a good show. We had to do it on Monday because we really could not wait till the end of the week on this one.
You know who you are, man? You are the J.R. Smith of podcasts. You are the J.R. Smith of podcasts. Once you're motivated and amped up, and once you're in a rhythm, there's no stopping you. But once your rhythm gets messed up, man, there's anywhere else in the world you'd rather be.
Yeah, I give up as fast as Stroman on the season once my rhythm's off.
There it is. Yes, folks, Marcus Stroman has opted out after all the shit he talked. Yeah, there he is. I was waiting for that. You're I was gonna say, man, last time you were lucky. You couldn't. You see, here's the thing. I think losing power is just code for I don't want to hear these guys talk shit about Yoenis. I think that's actually
it was we were like 3-7 last week, and I was like, I don't really feel like doing the show.
That's what it is. He took a week off. He's like, I don't care about the money. Fuck this.
I had power. I had everything. My life was good last week.
There it is. Lucky enough, I had power the whole time. I don't know how I managed to do that. That storm did not. The most that I did see is down the road, there was a tree that fell on a car. And that sucked. Yeah. Thank God it wasn't mine. What else we got going on? So, the Mets still suck. The Astros are, a bunch of turds. Their season is not going great. And, of course, we don't actually know if this is the case. But I mean, you get caught cheating, and then the next year you suck. It really makes me do a big think, let me tell you.
I mean, it's that, and on top of the fact that the season's all crazy to begin with and everything else that's going on, I mean, they would pretty much have to be perfect this year for them to be good. And they weren't going into the season doing that. And you basically needed Verlander to, one, be healthy the whole season and be the ace because you lost Cole. And the reason Verlander was so good last year is because he had Cole and Greinke, who were both just as good, and that really set it up. But look what happens when that gets taken apart. Cole's gone, and Greinke is horrible this year.
Yeah. And Greinke's been pretty bad. Although I was watching something the other day. I was watching I forget which game it was, but they showed that Greinke was calling his own game. The catcher wasn't calling the pitches. So Greinke would go out there and he would put up 2 fingers and there's a curveball. He would go up there, 4 fingers, throw a sinker. He's calling his own game from the mound, and the batter's right there.
I don't.
Wait, what?
Hold on. Well, you got to find this. Look this up. Zach Greinke, I don't know if he's been doing it all season or what, but at least for one game, he was calling his own pitches to the catcher. It's like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to play the game. Let's get this shit over with. You don't have to take my word for it. You can find it yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take your word for it. But the thing about it, which the reason why it seems like I'm going to believe you on this one is because Greinke has always done weird stuff like this with his anxiety issues, with his OCD, with his control freak nature. I mean, there's always something slightly off with the guy, which is why I've never wanted him on the Yankees. And it's like, you know, he's the type of player that if one little thing goes bad and it starts to spiral, he's going to give up like the rest of them, me and Cespedes and Stroman would do. So I just – the Astros are screwed. And we both said before the season started, look out for Oakland because they are a good team. They got Montes back, who's a very good starting pitcher. His stuff is filthy.
Yeah, so funny enough, about Frankie Montas, I have a weird story. This was like MLB The Show 14, so Montes was still in the minor leagues at the time. I traded for him, but he was just like a throw-in. I didn't think he was going to be anything great. And I simulated a season in which he not only broke the single-season strikeout record, he also got 21 strikeouts in one game. I don't know why. It's that kind of stuff is always funny to me when a programmer's like, because they got to figure out like who's going to progress well and who isn't. And like sometimes it's, you know, it's realistic, but sometimes it's really not. Madden, I forget which Madden it was, but when Tom Savage was the backup quarterback of the Texans, he always turned into a monster in the game. Tom Savage, I don't even think is in the NFL anymore. He was never good. That's just a thing that makes me laugh. The A's, you're right about that. They are doing really well. Speaking of the A's and the Astros, man, okay, so for those of you who live under a rock, I mean, you're all probably baseball fans if you're listening to this. The A's and the Astros got into a big bench-clearing brawl. Ramon Laureano got hit by a pitch. He made it over to first base. And that's when the Astros hitting coach, I believe it was the hitting coach, apparently said something about Ramon Laureano's mother. And Laureano charged the dugout. Now, I've never seen a player charge the dugout before. That takes pretty big grapefruits, if you ask me.
Yeah, and the funny thing, too, is why is anyone saying anything now? There's no goddamn fucking fans. You can hear every word. You could be in the outfield and you hear what he said.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Obviously, it takes quite the set of onions to want to charge an entire dugout. But, I mean, there's going to be punishments from this. There has to be.
Oh, of course.
Especially considering what's happened to the Marlins and the Cardinals recently. MLB is probably looking at this and going, you motherfuckers, after everything we told you about being careful regarding the protocol.
They also gave Joe Kelly an 8-game suspension, which is way too high. And it's like the same thing to the A's. It's so stupid.
An 8-game suspension, by the way, is like 15% of the season.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And this is the reliever too, so it's not like he's gonna miss, starts, because if it's 8 games, it doesn't count as 8 starts. That would likely be 2 starts if you're the 8th. So for him, he's legit missing 8 games. Yeah,
he's given the fact that relievers have to be rested here and there, he's probably missing like 5 games.
Yeah, okay, fine,
so
fair enough.
If you take that into account, but that's still, man, come on, get the hell out of here. That's still like 10% of the season. Dumb.
If they had done their job in the first place and taken care of the Astros in the way that the fans and everyone else thought and knew they should have, we would not have a problem today. But they wanted to shits the fuck out of the situation and ruin everything and piss everyone off. And the players are still angry about it, and they're showing they're still angry about it. And now the major leagues are going to punish the ones who are retaliating against bullshit? How is that going to fix anything?
Ramon Laureano, I'm going to predict, is going to get a pretty hefty suspension out of this.
I agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if MLB was strong-handed and suspended him for straight up half the season, gave him a 30-game suspension for it.
Oh, whoa. Wow. I didn't think it was going to be that high, but I was going to say if Joe Kelly got 8, he's probably going to get anywhere between like 10 and 16 games type of stuff.
The reason I say it's going to be that high is because, A, they want to make sure they're protecting the Astros for some reason. B, there was, like I said, already huge. Like if those huge outbreaks in the Marlins and the Cardinals didn't happen, he'd get suspended. He'd probably still get like a nice 10-game suspension. I think it's going to be really amplified by all of what's happened in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, I agree. And it's so stupid. And I hope that players don't give a fuck and they continue to fight the Astros on this, because you know what? If I was the player and I was even making, say, a minimum contract and I was a pitcher, I would absolutely hit the fuck out of Correa and all those stupid assholes. Altuve, Springer, all of them.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Kelly, give him props, because he said, you fucking suspend me. I don't care.
Yeah, he just, I mean, he appealed it, but he doesn't care. And I loved his face when he left off the mound. Was hilarious.
Yeah, he was mocking. I forget who it was.
Mocking the shit out. I think it was Correa.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. He's a good guy. Now that he's not on the Red Sox anymore, I like him.
Well, even on the Red Sox, I kind of liked him because he was the perfect attitude relief pitcher. And it's like, you want him on a dirty team.
I'll say this. The media, the sports media really annoyed me, because I remember there was a Sunday night baseball game. It was Yankees versus Red Sox. So Sunday night baseball on ESPN, they're going to be big Red Sox cheerleaders. So they're out there talking about Joe Kelly started the game. And they're like, man, this kid Joe Kelly, he can really be something. Watch out. His stuff is incredible. I don't think he made it out of the second inning. I think he gave up like 6 earned runs in 2 innings, or like 1+.
I did not know that they've tried him as a starter before.
Yep. Yeah,
I've never viewed him as that.
Yep, they tried to start him. I mean, that's almost always what happens with relief pitchers.
Yeah.
If you think about it, almost every relief pitcher starts off as a starter.
Yeah.
Maybe that change happens in the minor leagues and, they never go back, but at some point they're a starter. Yeah. Speaking of relief pitchers, we never mentioned this. At least I don't think we mentioned this. I want a quick shout out to a player that I'm very happy for, and that player is Daniel Bard. Now, I don't think we talked about him this season, but man, Daniel Bard has been out of baseball for like 8 years, and he managed to get a spot on the Rockies roster. That's incredible. And the reason why it's so incredible is because of how his career ended the first time around. Mm-hmm. So you got to hear this, because this is insane. I think everyone might remember that Daniel Bard was a really, really good relief pitcher for the Red Sox. Then the Red Sox tried him as a starter, which I thought was absolutely asinine, because the guy hadn't started a game since he was in the minors in 2007, 2008. And this is, by the way, the 2012 Red Sox. So this just added to the hilarity that was the 2012 Red Sox. He ends up being off the team. They send him to single A. They send him to rookie league, actually. He couldn't figure it out. He signs with the Rangers. The Rangers put him in single A, and I'm looking at his stats on the Rangers in single A. He pitched 2/3 of an inning. His ERA was 175. Oh, but it gets funnier than that, because in that season when he played for the Rangers, he hit 7 batters. He pitched 2/3 of an inning. He plunked 7 batters, and he walked 9 others.
Holy shit, that's got to be a record.
In 2/3 of an inning. So here's another thing about those 2/3 of an inning. They were spread across 4 games. He got 2 outs in 4 games. And in those 4 games, he plunked 7 dudes and walked whatever it was, 8 or 9. That's one of my favorite stories ever. Like just going down in an absolute fireball. But now, man, hey, man, even he can laugh about it now. He's back.
So when did he sign with the Rockies? This off season?
Yeah, he signed a minor league deal with them, and he's had some other minor league deals here and there. He was actually with the Mets for a little bit in 2017.
So it's not like he hasn't been playing at some kind of professional level. He just was not in the majors for 8 years.
But even in the minors, he maybe over the past 6 years amassed like 10 innings.
And they're using him as a reliever this year, and he's doing well? Okay,
They're
awesome.
using him as a reliever. His ERA is currently 3.52. He's actually striking out a lot of guys. He hasn't walked anybody in 7.2 innings.
That's impressive.
And there's a statistic called FIP, fielding independent pitching. So basically, FIP is a measure of how many home runs are you giving up, how many guys are you walking, how many strikeouts do you have. His FIP is, by the way, FIP. Whatever's a good number for ERA is also a good number for FIP. So if your FIP is like 5, that's bad. If it's like 3, you're doing really good. His FIP is like 0.6. So early in the season, small sample size, that's going to probably regress a little bit. But no, he's having a good year.
I mean, when you go from those stats you just gave us to doing this, that's impressive.
Yeah, no, he's figured it out. He had probably the worst case of the yips I've ever seen. And
dude, I love comeback stories like that. Yeah. Like, remember when Rick Ankiel came back and had some success? That was really awesome.
Scott Shields did it too. Scott Shields, he was hurt. He hadn't played in like 4 or 5 years, and then he played like half a season with the Braves a couple years ago. So yeah, that stuff's cool. That stuff's cool to see.
Okay, let's talk about the Yankees real quick because I want to talk about Gary Sanchez and all the nonsense over the weekend. I know a lot of people are pretty tired with him. He's still obviously a top 5 catcher, but the streaky thing with him is just so frustrating to deal with. He's either on the hottest hot streak you've ever seen a catcher do or the biggest slump you've ever seen a catcher do. And with the slump, anytime a pass ball or wild pitch happens, he gets blamed for it. I know I've mentioned a couple trade ideas for him. We're going to get into that later on in the show. I'd like to hear your thoughts on Gary Sanchez and moving forward with or without him.
Honestly, man, look, it's been a while since he's had like a really, really good year. We all remember that magical rookie season he had where he hit 30 home runs in like 3 months. We remember that he almost won Rookie of the Year that year. We remember, even the year after that, he was really awesome in 2017. He hasn't been able to do that since. What's the issue? Well, I'm kind of looking over his stats right now. His strikeouts are rising, his walks are going down. So there's, for whatever reason, for some kind of reason, his patience has kind of slipped away. And we've seen a lot of players that used to be really good for a season or two. We've seen that patience go away and never come back. Do I necessarily think the Yankees need to move on from Gary Sanchez? No, because he's still under team control. He's still going to be cheap for the Yankees. And I guess this is where your ideas come in. What would the Yankees do regardless? It's kind of like when a quarterback struggles in the NFL, and then it's like, we need to get rid of him. We need to move on from him. And it's like, all right, to who? Like, what's the idea? Where do you want to go from there? You want to just sign a backup quarterback from the scrap heap? Yeah, that'll do really well for you. So it's not that I think we should move on from him, because I don't think the Yankees should move on from him. But I'd be interested in hearing what the ideas are.
Yeah, I think there's a couple that you can do. One, which would be my least favorite of the couple that I've come up with, would be to trade him to the Tigers for Austin Romine back and for a couple of their pitchers or whatever. And maybe we throw in Abreu or something. Who knows? They're interested in Andujar. I know that. If you're giving up a top 5 catcher like Sanchez, you're going to want more than a Romine and a Boyd.
for sure.
That's not going to keep, especially the New York Yankees fans, happy. That sounds like a trash trade. But if you can pull off something like that, maybe get a bullpen arm as well, and then make sure you sign Real Muto as a free agent this offseason, then maybe that trade doesn't look so bad at the end of the day. And then you would have Real Muto and Romine as your backup again for the next 3 years. That would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, so the only thing is we got to remember, Gary Sanchez is 27 years old. So while some players never get their ability to hit back, you also got to understand that there are plenty who do. I guess I kind of – the idea of Romine back with the Yankees interests me as long as it's in a backup capacity because, man – I got to tell everybody, he is the best backup catcher in baseball. I think he is the absolute best backup catcher in baseball.
Easily.
Now, he's not hitting backup currently with the Tigers, I believe, right? I think he's their starting catcher.
He's the starter with them.
And hey, he's doing pretty well. I got to give it to him. In the limited amount of time he's had, he's doing pretty well. And in the limited time he had with the Yankees, he did pretty well. And I got to tell everybody to remember that this is limited time. Now, could Austin Romine have turned the corner and become a bit of a better hitter? It's a little doubtful considering he's in his 30s, which is crazy because I remember when he first came up. He's in his 30s. Maybe he's gotten better. It's possible he's changed a few things, but you telling me we're going to go from Sanchez to Romine as the starter? To that, I say, suck my toenails. Now, if there's going to be some kind of
I understand that.
Yeah, if there's going to be some kind of move that involves Romine becoming the backup again, I'd be cool with that, but I just don't see Sanchez as a part of that.
Right, and if you did it now during the season, then obviously Romine would have to be the starter for the rest of the year and into the playoffs. I'm not sure that's something anyone would be comfortable doing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Yankee fans out there that are like, they really fell in love with Austin Romine. And you got to understand, Austin Romine, even in his best years, had a WRC plus of about 90, which is, by the way, granted, while it's 10% worse than the average MLB hitter, it's probably 10% better than the average MLB catcher, because catchers tend to not be very good hitters. It's too much of an age difference between the two, and I just want to see the Yankees, because again, the guy's still cheap. It's not like he's making tens of millions of dollars. The guy can still turn it around while he's still making arbitration.
Right, and like you said, he's 27 years old, so you have to imagine that he's heading into his prime years within the next year or two, tops. So, if we can get past this ridiculous season, which is kind of crazy, and work with him on the off season, hope that next year he can figure some stuff out. I really think as he ages, he might get better.
Definitely. And, hey, maybe the question ends up becoming, when he becomes a free agent, what do you do then? Then maybe I can understand you backing off. But
right. I mean, Posada was kind of older when he became an established cornerstone for us, and that's when they started calling him, whatever, part of the group of four.
And by the way, he was a worse defender than Sanchez was. Let's make that clear.
Oh, he was really bad, especially at the beginning. If you remember, he wasn't on that first World Series winning team. He only has 4 rings.
Yeah.
He didn't really start playing full every day until 97, 98 really was when he started playing hard.
Yeah. So I'm gonna advise everyone to just cool down. You got to take anything that literally any player does this season with a grain of salt. I mean, even looking at like Garrett Cole, like, yeah, he's striking out a lot of guys, but man, you don't know if this is how he's going to be going forward for the Yankees.
Yeah, so, and one bad playoff start, you're going to start to hear the critics. Oh, I wanted $300 million.
Yeah. So there's really nothing anyone can do this season that's going to make me think that that's truly who that player is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
You wanted to talk other trades, right? You wanted to talk.
Yeah, we can do that. Or do you want to talk about how horrible the umpiring has been this weekend, or do you want to end with that?
I have noticed that umpiring the strike zone, at least, has been very inconsistent. I mean, you're seeing guys get a strike call for like something kind of out of the zone, like kind of away, kind of outside. But then you're seeing them follow that very same pitch up once again and get a ball.
Did you see the Joe West? He butchered 3 pitches in one batter. The first one, literally 2 inches above the bottom half of the strike zone, in the box, directly, calls it a ball. Then realizes that he calls it a ball. 2 pitches later, calls a pitch right off the fucking inside of the plate, calls that a strike because it was kind of close, but was clearly a ball. And then the last pitch, he calls a ball when it was a strike right on the corner.
Yeah, breaking news. Joe West sucks. What a shock. I've seen Angel Hernandez doing the same thing. But yeah, I've seen the strike zone has been
Hunter
very
Wendell's
cool.
stat was pretty terrible.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to watch a ton, but in the amount that I've watched, yeah, the calls have been pretty shitty.
That's a great name, by the way, Hunter Wendellstat.
It's definitely like when I think of a Hunter Wendellstat, I think of like a Civil War veteran
with the great like handlebar mustache.
Yeah, or maybe not like a handlebar, but maybe like a full beard with like the mustache that kind of goes out this way.
Yeah,
like, That's what I think. Or like an old prospector, like someone who's like panhandling for gold, and he has like the jug on his back with the 3 X's, and like he takes a swig. That's what I think when I think of a Hunter Wendell.
Yeah, because I actually like Hunter and think that he has had a pretty good career full of, not so many dramatic moments, whereas Joe West and Angel Hernandez, you could point at almost any game and be like, yep, they fucked up there. They were dickheads there.
CB Buckner is another one like that, where it's like, oh, you're so bad. How are you so terrible at this?
Yep. Okay, let's go over trades then.
Trades. So I thought of a couple of names. The Yankees are, just for the rest of eternity, and this doesn't just have to be Yankees, we can talk whatever team, but I'm just saying from now until the universe explodes, the Yankees will always be rumored to go after Robbie Ray. And
I knew you were going to talk Robbie Ray.
I can see it happening again this year, and I will be able to see it until the day I die.
Yep. Robbie Ray is a really good one.
I will be 110 years old thinking to myself, I wonder if the Yankees will go after Robbie Ray.
Who did you come up with in a trade package for him, or you just came up with who we might trade for?
Just came up with a name. I really, at this point, don't think it would be anyone too crazy considering, he's not exactly young.
No, he's not.
He's been playing for a while now, so that was one that I came up with. I think a cheaper option, if you're going to go for a pitcher, would be Mike Minor.
Okay, I came up with a good deal for him.
Oh, yeah? Let's hear it.
This might be one idea. I came up with 3 trades. One that's batshit crazy, one that might happen, and one that's pretty realistic.
Okay.
The one that I have realistic for Mike Minor would be Mike Ford, Abreu, and Holder for Minor.
Okay.
Or you could even trade out Holder and put in like a Velin or some other random arm.
Yeah. Do you think that so I'm going to just mention some names that I think could get traded at the trade deadline. You're going to tell me if you think they'll get traded, okay? Let's start off with Francisco Lindor.
I came up with a trade idea for him. It's the batshit crazy one. I think it's 50-50. I don't think he's going to re-sign with them, so they might as well move him as soon as possible.
Yeah.
But we heard that last year, and we heard that the year before. They're going to really need something spectacular to move their franchise player. You don't just do that for nothing.
Yeah, they've already traded Kluber. Who would have thought that would have ever happened? But they did it.
Yeah.
Very random.
And Bauer.
Yeah, and Bauer. So I think they recognize that their window is closed. Like closed. Not closing, it's done. They are done. They're not going to be contending for a World Series anytime soon. So
it's interesting because we hear Lindor so much and we never hear Jose Ramirez. He's an option that I think could possibly be moved for the right price as well.
I think Ramirez is younger, isn't he?
I don't know. A couple years maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's another one I came up with. Andujar, Holder, Abreu, and Valen for Whit Merrifield and Danny Duffy.
Merrifield. The only thing that scares me about Merrifield is he's in his 30s already. And
yes, he's old, but his contract, dude, is amazing.
No, I understand
4 years, $16 million. He plays like fucking DJ LeMahieu.
I get it.
Great contact hitter for us.
But is that really the position that we need help with as the Yankees?
No, it's not. But look at who I gave up for him. I gave up a guy who doesn't have a position anyway and could be replaced by Whit Merrifield. And I gave him 3 relievers, one who's in the minor league.
Okay, so I guess this brings me to my next question. And again, this is just a do you think it will happen? I guess we'll talk about it. Andujar, do you think he's going to get traded this year?
It's going to fluctuate around how Clint Frazier does. I think if Frazier is horrible, they might not consider moving Andujar yet because they're trying to train him to be the left field, and he would be a good DH, possibly better. When you have a guy who has an award like Rookie of the Year, you want to get slightly better value. I think they're going to have to move one of those two, either Clint or Andujar, and I think it's likely going to be Andujar now.
You do have to understand that when general managers go out and get a player, they don't give a shit what awards they've won. What matters is how.
No, I know that, but they're going to try to look at every angle, and I'm sure GMs are going to bring that up, or at least Cashman will say, oh, his value is high because he won Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. By the way, just want to throw it out there. Once again, it is a small sample size. I understand that. But you and I had a wonderful argument about Giovanni Urschela, and here he is doing even better than he did last season.
Fuck you.
And this goes to everyone out there, whether you're a Yankee fan or not. If you don't believe that Giovanni Urschela has broken out and become a really good player at this point, I just don't know what to tell you anymore.
He's a good player. No, I'll admit I had high doubts on him, which have now completely been erased. The reason I was worried about it is because, like we talk about all the time, sample size. He had 4 years of nothing.
I understand.
And then broke
Trust
out.
me.
And I needed to see him, what he could do this year. And I've seen what he can do this year, and I'm very impressed.
Trust me, I get it. But it seems like more than any other position, third baseman just seemed to break out late sometimes. Jose Bautista used to play third. The dude sucked for like the first 5 or 6 years of his career. You saw the same thing with Josh Donaldson. He broke out late as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, it happens. And I'm not saying it's because of his position. I'm just saying it happens. Sometimes players bloom late. One more player that I want to kind of gauge from you. Do you think that Jackie Bradley Jr. is going to get traded?
Yes, I do.
You do?
Yes, I do. Not sure what team could use him. I know the San Diego Padres and the Rays always seem to trade for an outfielder.
The Giants do too. I feel like the Giants are always looking for outfielders.
Jackie could be interesting there. So here's my batshit crazy idea that would land us Lindor and Real Muto.
Oh, geez.
In a 3-team trade.
Oh, my God. I hate it all.
We send Sanchez, Clint Frazier, and Holder to the Phillies. We send Sessa, Happ, and Duhar to Cleveland. Cleveland sends a prospect to the Phillies. Phillies send a prospect, or whatever. Vice versa, they send the prospect to each other. What do you think of that?
Okay,
and
so first of all, remind me to never do a joint fantasy baseball team with you, ever. Because that's insane. Secondly, why do the Phillies and the Indians even need to interact with one another? This sounds like it's just two separate trades. If all they're doing is just swapping a prospect and that portion.
It could be one trade because Cleveland needs the pitchers, and they would get that from us plus a really good prospect from Philadelphia.
Yeah, but
because Philadelphia's getting Sanchez.
yeah, but
I said it's that shit crazy, bro.
I understand, but this is not a 3-team trade. This is just two separate. This is just 3 separate trades.
No.
This is the Yankees trading with the Indians, the Yankees trading with the Phillies, and the Phillies trading with the Indians. This is not a 3-team trade.
No, it's one trade.
That's not how it works. Normally, you have the 3 teams, and then there's some kind of cycle. Like this goes here, and sometimes this goes here, but then this goes here, and this goes like. But there isn't.
That's what happened. If you listen to what I originally said, you're gonna have to go back listen to the show again because you're an idiot.
God, I don't want to listen to the show. I'm just kidding. I always listen to it.
I watch her show every day. It's great.
Yeah. So do I. Every day, Jesus. I just watch when there's a new episode up.
No, I love myself.
No, I love myself too. I think Joe has questions for us, or question for us.
I do have a question. Hold on, let me get my.
The answer is Marcus Stroman and Yoenis Cespedes.
Oh man, that's.
The hell is that? What is that? What is that? Jalapeno pepper chicken breast. Oh, that sounds good. This week, I'm sorry, Joe, I brought you to stay, but stay. You can stay.
Right.
This week, I'm gonna make a caprese chicken in the oven.
Oh, I like that.
It's gonna be pretty good. I actually made a really good. It was kind of like a balsamic soy sauce chicken thigh and like roasted potatoes. It was pretty awesome.
Oh man, that's exciting. On Thursday, I'm cooking a fancy steak with sour cream, chives, and potatoes.
I'm doing steak tonight, but I'm keeping it simple. I just seasoned it with some seasoned salt earlier in the day, so I'm just gonna toss that in the pan. And
Joe, what's for dinner?
Yeah, Joe, what are you having today?
I don't know.
You're gonna have some of that tree that fell into your place back there. I'm sure you can find like a bird or two in there to roast.
My sister made a good marinade last night. Soy sauce, Italian dressing, and some other things. So we had skirt steak. It was good.
Okay.
This is 27 Down, your favorite steak show.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing like an offshoot food podcast. That would be pretty
No,
cool.
we could do it. We could do it.
We're gonna have to have a cooking all steak podcast. That'd be amazing.
All
right. Give us your question. What do you got?
All right. Porterhouse, filet, or skirt?
All right. So filet. Filet is obviously the best. Porterhouse is cool. Porterhouse contains the filet. I think the porterhouse, isn't that just a T-bone with the filet?
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, wow.
So.
Look at you.
Yeah, I think on one side it's a T-bone. Or maybe it's the New York strip. I don't remember. But one piece of that is one cut, and it just has the filet stuck to it.
I'm picking what you're talking about. That's what I meant. So, yeah, that's what I thought.
Skirt steak. Okay, so skirt steak is good, but I feel like it's only good when grilled.
And you got to do a marinade. You got to do a good marinade. Yeah.
And I think it's good if you make like a steak quesadilla or like you use it in some capacity, not just dig right. It's good. It's good if you dig right in, but if you use it in some capacity, like taco,
like a fancy like Philly cheesesteak, you put like some
do
good
that,
cheddar on it, like a nice roll or some good bread or something. Yeah, agreed.
Those assholes over in Philly how to actually make good food instead of Philly cheesesteaks, which suck ass.
That's what we're making tomorrow night.
Making Philly.
You just it just goes through the whole book.
You know, I need a cookbook, man. I get all my recipes from this app, but I need like a good cookbook. I might do like a
So you don't do home shop or Blue Apron or any of that stuff. You buy your own stuff at a supermarket like a normal person.
Yeah, truth. All right, I know that wasn't your question, Joe.
No.
Question.
All right, so Evan banned me from doing trivia for a little while.
Why?
Because he got some wrong, so he doesn't really enjoy it.
That's bullshit. At least let me do the trivia.
No. So we have a question, but it's not. It's a question, but it's not. It's not
next
trivia.
Next episode,
this
I demand a trivia question.
All right, I'll find a good one.
For me, Evan doesn't have to play if he sucks at trivia.
But this is simple.
And I'm good at player operations and trades and shit.
This is an easy one, and I think I may already know your guys' answers. But biggest surprise and biggest bust so far.
Well, the biggest surprise has to be the Marlins, right?
That's what that's
definitely insane.
Huge.
They lost half their team and
didn't play for a week.
Yeah, and now they're just clapping everyone's cheeks. It's crazy.
Well, except us. We won 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
Us, because I'm on the Mets.
Yeah. That's your World Series for the year, I guess.
Because I'm the 28th man on the Mets.
Now for disappointments, I'm gonna do a player real quick. I'm really upset as to how Glaber's doing. Glaber was kind of my early pick for MVP, at least one of them. So it's a little upsetting that he's not doing well. I'll say another team, and I'm happy about this, but obviously it's got to be the Astros and how terribly they're playing. They're 6-9. I mean, who would have thought that would have happened?
Yeah, but see, I'm not disappointed, and I expected it, so I can't use that as my biggest disappointment.
I'm not disappointed, but I wasn't expecting it. It is, but they are. You can consider them to be a bust of a team because I don't think anyone saw them except for you, apparently.
I think biggest disappointment has to be the Mets. I think so many people shot them in the top 5
for at least the 4th year in a row.
Yeah, it's so obnoxious. And it's like, guys, you can't see all these simple red flags with why the Mets are not going to get to the next level doing the same fucking move after every goddamn year. They just keep doing the same thing. Okay, let's get this injury-prone pitcher who has high upside to come here and do nothing. Let's pick these guys who are lazy and stupid and don't really want to play here anyway. Okay, let's get Stroman and Cespedes. They're not going to opt out of the season, even though we're going to make one of them restructure his deal. You really thought Cespedes was going to play for less money and be like, oh, I'm happy. I love this. Yay, I'm Cespedes. No, he's an asshole, and he's proven it time after time after time, which is why he's been on 5 fucking teams.
Is that what he says? Yay, I'm Cespedes? Was that the next part?
I was on a rant. I don't know what I said.
Yeah.
What about the Nats? What about the Nats?
That's pretty surprising.
You have 2 World Series teams in the basement right now.
Yeah, but the Nationals, they lost Rendon, and I would say Scherzer's hurt. Like,
they're not the same team.
That's their 2 best players from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Strasburg just had his first start, so it's not,
And honestly, they're only 4 games out.
Yeah. I mean, it's early, and this whole schedule is so messed up that who was the other team? Everyone else is like around where you'd expect them to be. Like the Central is, other than the Cubs, it's kind of all bunched up.
The Tigers are surprising. The Tigers are a positive surprise.
True.
Baltimore hasn't been terrible, have they?
Tigers 8-5.
Baltimore hasn't been abysmal. No, I mean, considering they lost 100 games last year.
Yeah, they're 7-7.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised that they're 500.
The Central, it's a little surprising that the Cubs are as far out as they are. I mean, far ahead. But that's pretty much how I expected it to go. You can't really say anything about the Cardinals because they've only played a couple games. But everything else seems like it's in order.
Any new tests today? Any new positive tests?
None that I've heard of.
Not that I've heard of, no.
I'm waiting for the day, by the way, that this is what needs to happen. The AL West needs to end like this. It needs to be the A's. It needs to be Seattle in second, so good luck for that ever happening. Yep. Then Houston, then the Angels, then Texas. You know why I want it to end in that order? Because if you took the teams in that order and you looked at their logos, it spells asshat. The A's, Seattle, Houston, Angels, Texas. It spells fucking asshat. I need that to happen one day. It hasn't happened since the Astros moved to the AL West. It needs to happen.
The AL West is terrible right now.
Yeah, the AL West
Athletics are 12-4. Everybody else is under 500.
Yeah,
and I love it so much because I really hate that division more than anything.
Angels just can't ever put a team. I feel like they're the Mets of the West. Like they just, they get a half. They get one good guy, and then they get half everybody else.
Yeah, and now Ohtani's not going to be pitching the rest of the season.
He may
He's
never
done
pitch
for the-
again,
he's-
dude. They may just make him an outfielder at this point.
He's still
I know
going to
he
hit.
came out in
He's
the
still gonna
first
hit,
inning, but
he's done pitching for this season.
wow.
Bundy's
Wow.
pitching surprisingly well, considering how dreadful last year was. So that was a good pickup for them that I know I made fun of.
But yeah, the Angels, man. Do you think Pujols is going to hit 700 for them?
What's he
didn't-
at right now?
Obviously, it won't happen this year. He just passed Willie Mays not too long ago, so
It's like
that's puts him at like 660.
60, yeah.
got like
Does
3
he have
years
2
left,
years?
right?
Oh, he's got 3 years left?
No.
2 or 3.
He's done after. The contract ends after next year.
So this year and next year?
Yeah. So basically, like a year and a third of a year or so.
Okay, well,
he's going to have to get hot.
I think he can get it unless he pulls an A-Rod next year and is just completely horrendous.
That's what I was thinking, that maybe the Angels, he's so bad that they just cut him and he doesn't end up doing it.
I'm pretty sure Pujols has been playing since I was in high school, if that's possible.
2001, I think, his rookie year.
Yeah, that's when I graduated, because I remember I remember going to a game and being like, who's this guy? Because he was a rookie, and then he hit like 3 bombs. Like, forget this guy. He's a kid. He can't do anything.
Drafted in like the 40th round or something like that.
Damn. 40th?
Yeah.
They have 40 rounds?
It has the MLB draft is 50 rounds.
Oh, for the minor leagues. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
right. No, it makes sense. Yeah. Because they only show like
this year
7
they made
or
it only
something
5.
like that. Oh, okay.
Hey, what?
Normally it's 50. This year it was 5 because of the COVID.
No, I forgot MLB takes like high school kids and college kids.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving people back who don't want to sign. Like, it's a real shit show.
You don't even declare for the draft, by the way. So I'm sure there's plenty of people who are like, wait, what? I got drafted? The fuck?
Yeah, they're like ready to go to college.
Yeah.
They draft a lot of players who already made college commitments, and unless you're going to give them a lot of money, they're not going to switch. I mean, we did that with Jack Leiter, I believe, Al Leiter's son.
And don't forget Garrett Cole. Drafted him in high school originally. He decided to go to college.
2008, I've wanted him since then, and we had to wait over a decade, and we finally got him.
Better late than never, man. Better late.
So what do they do? They try and use those late picks to take high school kids? Because you wouldn't want to waste like a top 10.
So here's the thing. When it comes to later rounds, you're probably not going to get a high school player to sign if they're going to go to a good college. So because the amount of money just isn't worth it. You're going to get a signing bonus. If you're drafting in like the 30th round, your signing bonus is going to be like 5 figures. Okay. So yeah, I'd rather just go to college and just, play, maybe get better, maybe get higher in the draft.
I don't know, dude. If I'm 18 and they're like, we're going to give you $13,000, I'm like, yo,
I need an Xbox.
Yeah, well, that's why agents exist.
Yeah.
You
wouldn't want to tell 18-year-old Joe you're going to give him $13,000 to change his life.
Yeah.
Like,
they're there to tell you, like, no, don't do this. Just go play college. Yeah, that's that's why you see like a lot of college players in their senior year, they get kind of screwed in the draft because they get picked later on, and it's like, well, what are you going to not sign? You're done with college. You gotta sign, or you're not playing ball.
Yep.
So yeah, players in high school.
Baseball is so fickle in the fact that you're going to be in the minors for a bunch of years anyway. Might as well go to college for 4 years where you're taken care of there and have a good time, can get an education and a fallback plan, and learn valuable information on how to be a professional.
Another thing that happens with the draft is because they have that slot system that tells you how much you should be giving to every pick, but you can save that money for later picks. And seniors in college get drafted way early on, and they get super low ball offers. Because that's another thing where it's like, all right, you don't want to sign, then I guess I'll give you a McDonald's application.
Right, go find.
And then
you enjoyed your major.
in rounds 3 through whatever, you can go after high school players and really blow them away with a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
That tends to be the strategy. At least that's what the Yankees. That's what a lot of teams do.
Yeah, and I mean, Garrett Cole did say that his time at UCLA was priceless for him. He really needed that.
He loved college, man. He loved it. Yeah.
Pac-12.
Yeah, well,
good spot.
they got to be good at something, I guess. Speaking of Pac-12, the Power 5 conferences might not play football this year.
I heard Big Ten is almost out. I mean, I think they decided it, but it's not completely official yet.
I've heard that it's possible that all 5 of those conferences just peace out.
Yeah,
I've also heard the possibility of like conference-only games, but I mean, if you can't get fans in the seats, and that's a lot of money lost by these programs that still have to pay like umpires, I mean, referees and stuff, and like grounds crew. Like, even if the players don't get paid, that's still a loss that you're operating at if there's no fans.
I mean, I'm just thinking about the way college kids live. Like, I feel like it's a breeding ground for all viruses and bacterial infections.
When I was in college, there was a huge MRSA outbreak.
Really?
Yeah, like huge, to the point terrible. Where I would get like a little pimple on my arm, and I'm like, oh no. This is it. I need to get my affairs in order.
Wow. Yeah.
I think talking about my pimply arms is a good way to end the show.
That's it.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's it.
Down the perfect podcast for the perfect game. We'll either see you on Thursday or we'll see you next week. Who knows?
It should be Thursday.
Okay.
There's no reason for it to not be Thursday. So we'll do Thursday. Goodbye, everyone.
Peace.
Peace.